when was the last time you went to buy groceries?
2 days ago, I went to the supermarket that was 10 minutes by car away from my home. I needed to buy some bread and some meat, but somehow I ended up with a shopping cart where I had a lot more food. It tends to happen to me that I buy more than I planned.
Who buys the groceries in your home?
Since I live alone, I buy my own groceries. When I was a kid, my parents were the ones who did it. When I started living alone, I bought all the stuff that I needed. I actually like doing that because it makes me feel as though I'm a real responsible adult.
Do you make a list of what you're going to buy before you go to the supermarket?
I make a list in my mind. I don't often write a list on a piece of paper. I usually try to remember how many things I need to buy, and that is something that prevents me from forgetting what I need to get. But sometimes I do make a list. For example, if there was a celebration where I invited people, or if I have to buy something before my travels. It would be bad if I forget something in those situations, so I write a list to be sure.
What is the most expensive food item that you buy on a regular basis?
Sweet potatoes. They are the most expensive thing I buy. In my country, they are really expensive, but I heard in other countries they are not that pricey. A kilogram of them is not that expensive, but I buy a lot of them, so they end up being the most expensive thing.
Do you go often to the grocery store?
Not that often. I go maybe 3 times a month. Whenever I go to the grocery store, I buy a lot of things. I plan to buy enough food to last me for at least 7 to 10 days. I prefer to do things that way instead of going a couple of times a week. I try to think about everything that I might need in the span of 10 days.
You will have 60 seconds to prepare, and then you will speak for between 60 to 120 seconds. Start speaking now.
My favorite fictional character comes from the book Stranger, written by Albert Camus. I forgot the name of that character, or even if he had a name. He was the stranger in that book, the main protagonist. I was introduced to him when I was in high school. The Stranger was required reading, but I have to say that I loved the book. I really loved this character because he lived on his own terms. He didn't allow others to change the way he lives his life. He was basically true to himself. He didn't try to pretend, and he also wasn't an abrupt or violent character. He was a calm individual, just going about his business. But even though he was indifferent to others, there was a magnetic force that pulled others towards him, probably because of his indifference. I think I fell in love with this character because I was a teenager. At the time, I felt misunderstood. And just like he felt alienated by his surrounding, I felt the same way. But unlike me, he dealt with it like a strong individual. I just didn't like one thing that he did. He acted poorly in one situation. Apparently, his irrational fear got the better of him, and he resorted to violence in that instance. But besides that, he is a perfect character for me. There is just something about his indifference that resonates with me.
Do you think that fictional characters from books or movies can have an impact on our life?
Yes, absolutely, I think they do. There is this fictional character from a TV series that I think impacted me a lot. It was in the series about ancient Rome, and this character was a legionary. He was somebody who was true to his principles, and he was strong as well. I try to emulate him as much as I can. He represents everything I want to be. So, by having this fictional character as an example, it helps me be better. So, I would say the fictional characters can impact our lives, since one of them impacted mine.
Are there some fictional characters that are important for the modern zeitgeist?
I certainly think that there are. I'm certain that we can think about the characters from several famous trilogies that were really important for our modern world. We will always find them in many references, that they inspired many modern works of art, and that they changed the way we look at things.
Can comic book superheroes be regarded as good role models?
I would say it depends on the superhero. If it's somebody that solves everything with their super strength, then I don't think that they are a good role model. But if they are somebody who struggles with his issues and then overcomes them, then I think that they are good role models.
What makes a fictional character good, in your opinion?
I think it's relatability. If we can relate to the fictional character, then I think we could say that this is a good fictional character. If we can see something in them that we find in ourselves, then we will enjoy seeing the adventures that they will find themselves in.
Can we relate to a fictional character that is a villain?
I think that we can certainly relate to them. Even though villains do bad things, if they do it for the reasons that we understand, then we can relate to them. All of us have faced tough choices at one point or another.